It is lights out and away we go because it is Thursday, a couple days late, but this is still Frontstretch, and we had our one of our three home Grand Prix. My home Grand Prix. I'm in Texas. Alex, you're everywhere in the world now. Washington D.C. You keep tabs everywhere, especially in Formula One. But Max Verstappen has continued his charge to possibly a fifth title. It's coming more and more clear that he's going to be a factor here after dominating at Coda, winning the sprint, dominating more so in the race in general. This has been a stupendous run, really, for both Red Bull and Max Verstappen, who we thought were dead in the water with everything going on with the drama at the start of the season. The pace of the McLarens felt like they were unbeatable at all. Now that he's done such damage in the last couple of weeks, is he real? Do you think now he's in contention to pull this off and get number 5?
Oh, I mean, you can't argue that he is. We've got 5 races left, I believe. Mexico, Brazil, Qatar, Vegas, Abu Dhabi. Yes. And he's 40 points behind Piastri, I believe. So let's assume, perfectly realistic scenario, by the way, let's assume Verstappen wins all of those races and sets the fastest lap, and Piastri finished second in all of those races. That's 40 points. The championship goes to a tiebreaker that way alone. Then we look at the performance of the McLarens over the past, let's call it the past 5 races, because Norris finished 18th in the Netherlands, even though Piastri won. And we've got finishes of 7th and 3rd for Norris, along with his 2 second places, and a finish of 3rd, 4th, 5th, and a retirement for Piastri, while Verstappen has 5 finishes of 2nd or better in the last 5 races. 3 of those are wins. Mathematically, it's possible, but I think if we factor in the way the McLarens are running lately versus the way Verstappen is running of late, this is kind of starting to look inevitable to me, hence the title of the podcast. Now, I don't want that to be the case, because I put my neck out there at the beginning of the year and I said that Piastri is going to keep his composure and win the title, and I don't want to be wrong. But this could play out to be something really, really special for Verstappen this year.
One thing you can't forget too, Brazil and Qatar are both sprint weekends as well, and that's extra points on the table. And I think really the sprint race played a big factor in that versus even the race. I mean, I know Oscar Piastri still finished 5th in this one and wasn't in contention at all. Lando Norris kept his footing at least and was at least 2nd, but still he doesn't have the points buffer unlike his teammate. This sprint weekend opened this Pandora box up, I think, because it was like, it's a good story. He's getting close, but he doesn't control his destiny. Max Verstappen controls his destiny now. He doesn't have to rely on McLaren having something catastrophic happen in a weekend. They can finish on podium with him as long as he's on the top step. He's going to get number 5 now. And the fact that he's pulling off these weekends left and right, and what's left on the schedule for Max to accomplish, the only question mark I think he has left is probably Vegas, because Mercedes has looked fast there. Ferrari, I know in seasons past it's looked good. They're not in the picture at all right now. It's between McLaren, Mercedes will come in here and there. They're not really in any title picture. They're just running 3rd best right now and might trump both these teams probably that weekend. But every track I look at to finish off the year is something that Max Verstappen can absolutely dominate, like he's been doing in the last couple of weeks. And add the sprint weekends to that, I think he can even get away with maybe as long as the McLarens aren't winning. Mm-hmm. Like I said, with Mercedes maybe stealing one at Las Vegas, and kind of like how Mercedes stole Singapore from both of them with George Russell. I think he can even take a hit like that as long as he's winning the sprint races, staying in front of McLaren that way as well. Do you think, I mean, just from that sprint race and analyzing that wreck, do you think that these sprint races are going to play a major factor with just how many there are left and the points that are tallied from that as well?
So I don't think that they're going to play a factor by virtue of being sprint races. I don't think there's anything about them qualitatively that is going to make them more or less important than the Grand Prix. But what it is going to show us is it's going to be 2 extra opportunities for something to go wrong for the McLarens. And the dynamic that McLaren has to deal with right now is they, for the first time in many, 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 many years, have 2 young championship quality drivers that do not have titles yet. And what we saw in Coda, and we can call Coda an isolated incident because, maybe Lando Norris just didn't think that Hulkenberg was going to be there, or Piastri didn't think. I think it was Piastri that cut across Hulkenberg's.
Yeah, I think it was Piastri too. Yeah.
What we are going to learn over these past few races, and we've already started to learn it. We're going to learn it more now. Is how are these young guys at McLaren going to handle the pressure of being championship contenders that still have something to prove? If Max Verstappen wakes up tomorrow and decides that he doesn't want to race anymore, he's already one of the best in history in Formula One. He's won everything there is to win. He's done everything that he can do. It's just different drivers mentally and spiritually and emotionally that we're dealing with over these last 5 races. And McLaren has to really get it together at the driver level, the team level, and the management level if they're going to withstand this, because Verstappen is Jorge Lorenzo said this about Valentino Rossi, I think. When he knows he can win, he's a killer.
Yeah,
they can't count on anything to go wrong, and it could. The Red Bull could explode in Brazil. It could blow a tire down the straight in Mexico, like it did at Azerbaijan a few years ago. We don't know, but you can't bet on it. You can kind of bet on something happening between the McLarens at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, because Lando Norris had his mechanical failure at the Netherlands a couple weeks ago, and they just find themselves in kind of the scrum behind. Max Verstappen's been winning poles. He's been staying ahead of all of the scrum that his teammate Yuki Tsunoda is involved with, or the RBs, or just everyone else in the pack that are desperate to get points anywhere right now. And of course, I kind of predicted in the last episode of the Pit Straight, like Coda Turn 1 is going to cost something. I called it
always.
Thinking the race. Yeah, always. It ended up being the sprint race, but still, my point stands. It has affected the championship, and in my prediction, I was like, I think something's going to happen, and McLaren's going to fall back because of Coda Turn 1, and got both of them. And now we're sitting here looking at a feasible gap that can be broken by Verstappen, and there's nothing telling me that he's not going to slow down. There's nothing that's telling me that Red Bull's going to fall behind here. They are on a war path similar to just their sheer dominance in 2022 and the 2023 seasons. This is that level that they found once again, despite all the personnel changes that have gone on. And I got to commend the new Red Bull leadership here for finding that gear again with Verstappen. They still got to find it with the second car, but that's a 2026 problem that they have to address with whoever they have when they start running Ford-powered powertrains and mixing in that with their new 2026 regulation car. But in the meantime, for this season, it's on, and it's incredible. What's also on is a new deal for Formula One and their television deal with Apple TV. Reported $140 million per year, 100 according to CNBC. So what I'm looking at for 5 years. That is a lot of euros, dollars, whatever they want to say. That's a lot of money. But in terms of getting the public eye here in America on Formula One, that is a very niche platform that I feel like it's kind of the death penalty for American Formula One viewers that they're going to have to buy through a paywall to find Formula One coverage here in the States. If you don't have VPN and don't want to give your money to Sky Sports in that matter, then again, you're giving the money to somebody at the end of the day, and it's going to be a much higher paywall and point of entry to get into Formula One. Is this kind of a killer for Formula One fans here, or can they just suck it up and pay the Pied Piper here?
It's very, very hard to understand the rationale with this decision at all. I have Apple TV specifically because I get a discount on it as a college student. That's the only reason. That was one of the first things I bought after I paid my tuition deposit, because I get Apple TV and Apple Music for $6 a month, and I don't use either of them. Apparently, I'm going to have to now. You know, the ESPN broadcast on F1 and the contributions that Sky Sports made to that were fantastic. You know, and then F1 TV is the big loss for me here, because I am perfectly happy to pay $80 a year for live access to all of the coverage, getting to pick whether it's the F1 live feed or the international feed, the onboard cameras, the archive. Oh my God, the archive. To toss all of that aside for a deal with Apple is very strange, because yes, Apple is a recognizable brand. It's a very dominant brand as far as certain sizable sectors of the technology market in the US are concerned. It's a recognizable brand in the sense that it has a very strong aesthetic appeal. You know, how many people buy iPhones simply because they think Android is kind of an ugly operating system, or they think that the new Samsung Galaxy, whatever number they're on, just looks kind of strange? Maybe I'm shallow, but that's part of the reason I have an iPhone 13, is because I just think it looks better than the competing products. And look at this guy, hideous. Get it out of my sight. I don't want to look at it. To paywall all of that is really, 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 really strange. And I'm going to out myself as not being as informed as I could be. I don't know if local broadcasters are still going to carry the American races, but all but 3 rounds of the championship are not in the US. So I want to know what happened on Apple's side and on the side of the existing arrangement that F1 had for broadcasting in the US to make this happen, because it seems like a great example of money talking, and it's like a video game being developed without the source material being honored. You know, it's like these people are making NASCAR 21 Ignition because they want to make a video game that they can sell, not because they care about NASCAR. You know, EA Sports bought Codemasters not because they want to improve the F1 game, but because they want to own another intellectual property, so on and so forth. So I can't say if Death Sentence is a bit too enthusiastic of a label, but I can't see the reasoning for it.
I know I talked with Tom Blackburn through the week, local to the show, obviously, IndyCar expert, but he's been getting in the F1 side a lot more. I've been dragging him into the pen with this. I'm kidding. But when I hear Apple TV as an American, and I watch a lot of different sports when I talk about this, Apple TV, I think, is responsible for at least for you guys who watch college football here in America, they're responsible for the blank show of a deal that was the Pac-12, now the Pac-2, whatever you want to call it, deal that severed the Pac-12 initially. It was a high dollar deal, but the franchise, the teams, the colleges that were involved in that abandoned ship when it came to that. And this kind of deal feels like it's going to tank American viewership pretty heavily, because we're getting anywhere between 900,000, 1.2, 1.3, tops 1.5 million viewers for Formula One races throughout the season. Coda, I think, was around the 1.2 category this week. Don't quote me on that. But I don't see how you're going to get all 1.2 million viewers that are going to ESPN, a very well-recognized brand, established brand that has been showing in Formula One the last couple of years, to a subscription-based model that, I mean, the only other things I know it offers is Major League Baseball.
Sometimes.
Some for select games. It has solid shows. I'm not harshing on the show side. As a sports fan in general, I'm getting Formula One. But guess what? You can get IndyCar on main Fox for free if you have an antenna. You have Tableau TV. You have something like that. You can watch all 17 of the IndyCar series races very easily. NASCAR, it's a little bit chopped up. It's been like that the last couple of years, and it's even getting even worse. But you still have network TV still playing a role in NASCAR's TV schedule. Not a very big role anymore, but they're still trying to ride the cable train, which is derailing at a quick rate at this point. They need to get off that. But Apple TV, it's Apple TV on I get going to streaming, but on the pecking order of of streams, Amazon's ahead of that, Netflix is ahead of that. I'd say Paramount Plus is ahead of that in terms of just establishment. Yep. Like, what are we doing? Like, you're picking the fourth or fifth best option. You're going after the money. I get it. Liberty Media is going after the money here, is what I'm going to chop it up to. Just picking the fourth or fifth guy in line there because they're giving you enough money. It's almost like you might as well put it on like a Saudi Arabian TV with how much money they're sending at this point.
So how many years did you say this deal was for at the start of the show?
For 5 years. For 5 years.
That's right. So this worries me because something horrible has been going on with MotoGP in the United States for at least the past 10 years, probably longer. It used to be when I first got into MotoGP in the 2015 season, which I got in a horrible time to decide that you liked Valentino Rossi. MotoGP was on, I want to say Fox Sports 1 every weekend, or NBC Sports.
I think they still are, aren't they? They're on Fox Sports now, I thought.
They might be now. Be now.
I've seen commercials on there. So go ahead. Keep going.
Between 2015 and now, they were on beIN Sports, which didn't come with any cable package. Then they hopped around a bit more, and then they were on HBO Max for 2024. That was actually a good time. I didn't mind that. But for the past 10 years, it's been very difficult as an American MotoGP viewer to know how to actually watch the damn sport. And let's say that this deal with Apple runs its course, which isn't the least risky bet. It's not a major concern though, and it doesn't renew for 5 more years. Where does F1 go then? Do they go back to ESPN? Do they go back to NBC? Oh God, help me if that happens. Does Speed Channel make a comeback between now and then, and they end up on there? Does F1 TV become its own channel that comes with some kind of package, or it ends up as a subsidiary of Disney most likely? This is, I understand that, especially in the NASCAR world, we know that the TV money runs everything. But for CBS. The fans, there you go. You mentioned the upswing that F1 is on in the U.S. right now, where the attendance numbers for COTA, a track that I really do not have much patience for, by the way, are insane. We're doing 400,000 people a weekend in 2022 or something like that. It makes me want to shout words that I can't shout on a live stream. To take that environment that F1 is in, where the recognizability of it may not have been this high in 20, 30 years. There's 3 races. They're all doing decently publicity-wise, except Miami, but that's another episode. To then take that and say, for the general consumer, what is Apple TV, $11 a month, $15 a month, something like that?
Something like that.
This is your barrier to entry now. Come get your product. It's on this streaming service that nobody uses for anything.
Yeah, for 9 months, or even longer than that, maybe 10 months. From March to December, you get that.
I'd call it 9. Yeah, because who's watching preseason testing?
Yeah, only the closest to followers, and that's not even on. That's barely going to be on Apple TV. Probably you probably have to find it somewhere else. But I could be wrong. By the way, 400. Yes, you're right. Over 400,000 fans at COTA this weekend.
That's insane.
Just insane. That's wild.
Those are North Korean type numbers.
Yeah. Well, remember that's for
the
all
United
3
States
days.
Grand Prix won 120% of the vote. Like, it's insane.
It's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get bigger. They get that resort in turn 1 that I saw. Around there. Yeah.
If people can watch the race on TV and know that the sport still exists.
Do you think? I'm about to say we always talk about it when we come to a U.S. Grand Prix. This is I view this as the quintessential U.S. Grand Prix. This is this is America's real race. While Miami and of course Vegas, that we'll go to in a little bit, those are it's paparazzi races at the end of the day. Do we need more? If we're going to have 3 U.S. Grand Prix, do we need to go to places like Watkins Glen or like a real course? Or I mean, this seems like a argument we keep running around chasing our own tail about here in America.
Yeah. I agree with you entirely. Again, I really have never been a fan of COTA for how it looks and how it races, but it's purpose-built for Formula One, and that's commendable in and of itself. Vegas, I have a soft spot for because of the novelty and because it seems to actually play out as a decent race as far as street courses go.
I agree, yeah.
I don't think economically we're in a position where anybody is stepping up to fund another purpose-built Formula One racetrack in the continental United States. I'd support it 100%. I don't think that you can roll the Formula One circus into Watkins Glen or Road America or
Road Atlanta.
Oh God, Road Atlanta. Yeah, imagine them through the S's. Good Lord. Watkins Glen, Road America. Sonoma, Laguna Seca. I don't think you can do that and have those facilities accommodate the spectacle of F1. Where you could do it, ironically, just because there's an abundance of flat space, I think is Sebring.
Really?
But Sebring would need...
It is an airport pretty much.
But is it grade 1? I think Sebring would need a lot of work to be made grade 1 if it's not already. And if it is already, it probably shouldn't be. So
it's grandfathered in grade 1.
Yeah, no kidding, right? It was old enough to smoke before they had a smoking age. So, remember the Port Imperial Street Circuit proposal where they were going to race in New Jersey with Manhattan as the backdrop?
Yes.
I would almost take something like that again over the Miami Grand Prix, just because, like I said, I don't think we're going to get a purpose-built track in the U.S. anytime soon. Miami is an influencer race for sure. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily, except that it's not a compelling racetrack.
It's really not.
All these Middle Eastern races are conservative, not conservative, good Lord, influencer racetracks too. But they have track records.
Yeah, I take something like you said with racing around New York. I think that's just kind of an aesthetic that a lot of, not just F1 fans, I mean, even NASCAR fans would be like, man, wouldn't it be cool to race around like Manhattan or in the backdrop at least? We're not getting anything like that. Or hell, even I don't know if I've been to Long Beach before. I don't know if Long Beach would be able to satisfy the spectacle either. I know in terms of location wise, it makes sense, but in terms of space wise, it is a very tight track. At the end of the day, though, I think they could, because they just look at how much is going on during that Long Beach Grand Prix. They have 4, 5, 6, 7 different series that are racing in that, and he turns it off. Turns off the camera after the 6, 7 mentioned. No, they have a multiple series racing at that location. But at the end of the day, it's going to be tough to kind of move on, especially after we've extended Miami. They actually just extended COTA as well, and Las Vegas. That's going on forever. You'd have to add a 4th one. I don't support adding a 4th one just because it'd be too saturated at that point for our market. There's other places in the world that, like South Africa, like Malaysia, South Korea, that are begging for a race, and I would rather see it there for their markets as well. So, not in support of the 4th race. Definitely in support of moving it one day, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Not at least in my 20s or even my 30s at this point. So,
well, be careful though, because Las Vegas took like a year to develop.
Yeah.
And street races are an absolute pain in the ass for the cities that host them and whatnot. And longevity wise, they're not, they don't live very long. And it can't be Long Beach because that just has to be an IndyCar race. If another series comes up and tries to buy the Grand Prix of Long Beach, I'll get involved myself. And then nobody will see me ever again. They'll disappear me because I know too much. They'll have
NASCAR learned of your biddings.
But no, your point exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing when you said there are other places in the world. You can't have 4 races in the US and not go back to South Africa or Rwanda or Botswana, whichever one it is. Probably Botswana, given that Rwanda's engaged in like a proxy war right now. You got to. There are places in Africa. There are racetracks all over South Africa. You could draw massive people if you put on a sensibly conducted race in Cairo, Egypt, maybe. You could go back to Malaysia. You should go back to South Korea. Indonesia, given how they're investing in their buildup of their new capital city, they're probably going to be floating some kind of idea about drawing international sport to the new capital here soon. That's more important than, a new racing complex in Denver.
Yeah. We don't Liberty Media being in Colorado, that would make sense. But
are they based out of Colorado?
Yeah, they are actually. I think Colorado Springs, if I'm not mistaken. That's actually you didn't even mean for that, but
no, I didn't.
I got you on that. So, yeah, I again totally agree. We should be looking elsewhere, or at least Formula One should be looking elsewhere for where they're going to want or where they're going to compete at. But hopefully one day.
Kazakhstan just built a new track to attract MotoGP and didn't get it. Go to Kazakhstan. I would love the Grand Prix of Kazakhstan. Go to Iran. I'd love the Tehran street circuit. Go to North Korea, the Pyongyang Autodrome.
Oh, great places, right?
Go anywhere except Miami, Florida.
Literally anywhere but Miami is where I'm at too. Shoot, 3 races in Spain sounds better. three.
Yeah, there needs to be an
France.
Episode on that.
France. We don't even go to France anymore either.
Which is a shame because Paul Ricard actually raced like really well with the 2021.
Paul Ricard lost it to Miami, if I'm not mistaken.
That would make perfect sense. I don't know if it was a direct 1-to-1, but Paul Ricard was a real loss. And
yeah.
Germany. Oh my God, Hockenheim. Nürburgring.
I would kill for a Hockenheim race. Like that would be awesome.
Yeah.
At least in this generation, I've felt like I've lost. I didn't get into it as heavily as I am now, and I see all the races at Hockenheim. I'm like, wow, we lost a gem there. We got to go back one day. So yeah. we could reminisce on all the tracks that we're missing out on in F1. In the meantime, we go to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Looked at it without even looking up the name, by the way. Thanks, NASCAR, for that one. We'll go to Mexico City for the next tour here for Formula One. And remember, Lando Norris versus Max Verstappen last year. Will that come up again? Ooh, I'm excited for that. Alex, you've been a busy man offline with getting a degree and whatnot and being a smart man. Thanks for coming on a Thursday, very late episode of the Pit Straight. Can you tell the people what you got going on, if you got anything going on with Frontstretch and in the future?
Just trying to get through the F1 season and go through everything that we've gone through on the open wheel side. Very transitional kind of year with a lot of pieces moving around and whatnot. And I'm looking forward to finishing out this season and coming back in 2026 with a much more stable foundation and a much greater product for everyone to take in.
I'm excited to be part of that product too for next season and the rest of 2025 when we'll be back on here in the Pit Straight. Follow us on Frontstretch Open Wheel on YouTube as you're watching currently. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching. Also, please check us out on all of our podcast networks for Frontstretch. The Frontstretch Podcast Network that has Through the Gears coming on for me. Actually, about to record this right after this show with Steven Stumpf. Excited to have him there.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Hey, Steven's. What is it? The sizzling stats. That one.
Oh gosh.
I'm not gonna play the soundbite. Oh God. Shout out Brian Nolan. He loves that soundbite a bunch. Speaking of Brian Nolan, Dalton Hopkins, and Michael Massey are also on Happy Hour. I think Ryan Ellis joined once again for the show. So be sure to tune into that. Filmed on Tuesday. And then Caleb Barnes will be back on a normal recording of Stock Car Scoop because he was at Talladega last week. He covered there. He will be ready to go for live reactions from the race at Martinsville. But until then, we'll see you after Mexico City. I'm Wyatt Watson. That's Alex Gintz. See you later, folks, and have a great rest of your day.